Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand, the latest Manchester United news, previewing the West... Well, I don't know why I'm doing that actually. Been messing around with that accent all day. Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. This is your West Ham preview, but it's also your latest Manchester United news that we didn't cover this morning. Quite a bit of transfer news to cover actually. We'll be talking about Lingard potentially moving to Newcastle permanently in January. A little bit about Telles, DEMBELE, Donny van der Beek and a few other bits, as well as Spurs potentially moving for Kessie in the January transfer window to avoid a bidding war in the summer when he's free. Also, we're talking about this West Ham game. Did you know, I've not done Did You Know for a while, did you know West Ham are fourth in the league, not only in the Premier League, normal league, but they're fourth in the league for their away form as well. Very good team away from home. So, look, very difficult game coming up, and we'll be talking about that and many other things in a moment as well. But as it is a preview, you know, on the preview, we are sponsored by Ultimate Fan. What is Ultimate Fan? Well, I'll tell you now. Today's show is supported by them, and Ultimate Fan is a fantasy football with a twist. Imagine fantasy football combined with super cool pack openings. The game is super simple to play. All you have to do is be over 18 and download the app totally for free using the link in the description. Follow the sign-up system and then you'll be able to start opening your free packs and filling in your team for this coming weekend. And what happens is your team, which isn't an 11-a-side team, it's half of that, you pick your team from your pack and they accumulate points based on how they perform this weekend. There's also Ultimate Fan Plus for you to explore. These 6-section features, paid for cards and silver packs where you can receive extra cards, exclusive content and much more. But you don't actually need those to play. You can get your free packs through the link in the description. And each week there are prizes available for the teams that perform the best. So if your players perform the best, you can win up to, well, the prize pool is £8,500. So loads of money up for grabs. As always, if you want to check out my team, we've posted a pic on the United Stand Twitter page. If you head over there, make sure to drop your screenshots of your team in the comments for us to check out as well. And if you want to take part in this week's awesome game, then hit the link in the description below. You can start playing Ultimate Fan today. Thanks again to Ultimate Fan for supporting the United Stand, and a little bit of fun for you to play at the weekend. Just remember, you've got to be over 18, but you get free packs to play, and good luck. Probably easier than trying to get 11 players at the moment with all the COVID and stuff. Anyway, let's get on with the show. So we're playing West Ham on Saturday afternoon. Quite a quick turnaround. The first thing I want to say is Rangnick cannot make changes. He cannot make changes. He's a bloody hypocrite if he does. As I said last night on the match reaction, he came in as manager. Carrick was the manager against Arsenal. We won the game. We played Crystal Palace and he said, I can't change a winning team. Well, you bloody can change a winning team because Carrick was the manager and now you're the manager. You can't be a hypocrite and change your own bloody winning team. He's got to pick the starting 11 that started against Brentford because that team basically won the game. It was 2-0 before he started making subs. And they played very well against Villa. They deserve a home game. They deserve to be picked. And this is going to be a very difficult game. But he's got to resist the temptation of bringing Harry Maguire in or Marcus Rashford in. I think in the case of Rashford, I mean, brilliant show this morning with Paul Ince. Check it out. Such a, if you like, it should be a podcast that. It's just such a good chat. Loads of different areas from the past and what's going on. But I do think with Rashford, if he started this game over Elanga, the crowd got on his back last time. If he has a bad start, it'll be like, oh, why is he starting? I think Rashford came off the bench, confidence, goal, took it well. On the bench again, bring him off the bench. He'll get a better reception and it will just be easier for him to play his way back in. We've got genuine competition on that left-hand side and Elanga needs to start. As for Victor Lindelof, he has to start ahead of Harry Maguire. I can't think of a goal we've conceded that's been down to Varane or Lindelof since they've played together. We've conceded 3 goals and none of them have been their fault. So Lindelof does not deserve to be dropped for Harry Maguire. And if he's going to get dropped for anybody, it'd be Phil Jones. And I wouldn't do that either. So don't make any changes. But let's just talk about West Ham for a little bit. Because I'm aware of talking about Lingard and all the transfer stuff. We have got some transfer news for you. In relation to West Ham, they were doing really well. Funnily enough, they beat Leeds 2-0 in the FA Cup, and then 2 weeks later they lost to them 3-2 in the Premier League, which was last Sunday. But prior to that game, West Ham were on a really good run. I think they'd won 4 in a row. They're a really good team, West Ham. As I said, they're 4th in the league anyway, but they're 4th in the league for away games. They've won 6 away from home, drawn 2 and lost 3. That's a really good away record for anybody. Very good. Compare that to Manchester United's home record. They've won more away games than we've won home games. Clip it. It's true. West Ham have won more away games than we've won home games. They've won 6 away games. We've only won 5 home games. We've drawn 1 and lost 4. We've lost 4 at home. So it's one of those, isn't it? Look, I'm confident. I think we will win. West Ham on the road have scored 12 goals. We've conceded 15 at home. So look, that doesn't really make any sense. They've scored 19 on the road, and we've scored 17 at home. So again, West Ham have scored more goals than us on the road than we have. Now let me just do quick maths. They have actually played 1 game more than us away than we've played at home. But look, their record away is very, very good, and I think that we've got to be very, very wary of this. Now, I think some United fans are taking confidence from the fact that Leeds beat them at home. Big reason for that. Souček didn't play, he's had COVID. Now, whether Souček's back for Saturday is key to the game, because they had to play Lanzini with Rice, and Souček and Rice are a bloody good midfield. Lanzini and Rice ain't as good. So I think key to this game is whether Souček is fit, because we know they've got Bowen and Fornells and Antonio and Vlasic and others, and Lanzini himself, very creative players on the break or however they want to attack. But their midfield engine room has been a huge part of their success over the last 2 years, and that's been down to Declan Rice and Souček. So if Souček's fit, they didn't have him for Leeds. Would they have lost that game? I don't think they would. I think Souček and Rice are massively important to West Ham. They're a little bit weak at centre-back. They've had problems there. Dawson and Diop are probably likely to play, but their full-backs are decent. And look, they're a well-organised team. As I said with Paul Ince this morning, I do think that West Ham tend to play a little bit defensive. That might help us, I hope. But it's going to be about how we approach this game. We can talk about West Ham as much as we like, and they're having a very impressive season. You look at that Premier League table, and they're ahead of us by 2 points, but we have got the game in hand. You've got to beat them. Like, a draw's not a good result. It is not a good result, because they're ahead of us in the league. They're fighting for 4th place. We're at Old Trafford. If you want top 4, you've got to deserve it. And I sit here right now, and I've said it a few times now, we don't deserve top 4. We don't. I mean, even last night, we didn't play well for 45 minutes. We don't deserve top 4 at the moment. We can get top 4. We can, but we don't deserve it. To deserve it, you've got to win games like this. At the end of the season, you've got to look at it and go, that West Ham game was important because they were ahead of us at that point. Same as when we play Spurs at home. Same as when we go to the Emirates. We've got to win these games. They're 6-pointers, really. So we've got to win it. And a draw is a good result for West Ham. It's a bad result for us. And I don't want to be sat there at 5 o'clock on Saturday with people going, that's a good point, that is, Mark. It's a good point. It's not. We're at home. We're playing catch-up. It's not a good point for us. We have to win. And how we line up, look, the team for me is very easy. It's there on the left. I think I'm going to talk about that Spurs Kessie move in a moment. Souček is available, says Hatim. Well, I know he'd had COVID. I expected him to be available. So, you know, that boosts their midfield straight away. And I think that's the area to focus on, because that team, we know Delo's not English. It's a bit of a running joke. Delo, let me just give you some team news for this game. Obviously, we've got Rangnick's press conference tomorrow lunchtime. But as we understand it, Shaw and Cavani will not be back in time. The knocks they've got, they won't be back for this game. Wan-Bissaka is expected to miss it as well, still with illness. Sancho is still a bit of a doubt. Obviously, personal reasons kept him out of the game at Brentford, and it's felt that may still be a little bit more of an issue for Sancho, especially as we've got a couple of weeks off actually. Our next game after West Ham is 2 weeks tomorrow, which is Friday night in the Cup, isn't it? Finally getting to go home today after months away. This is Charlie Griffiths. Good, Charlie. Enjoy the trip, safe trip, and I'm glad that you're heading home. Nice to get a little bit of personal news on the show. We always like that. We are a great community. So yeah, I think that the back 4 will stay the same anyway. Cavani won't play, so Ronaldo will obviously play. And then I think the only prospect is, would you play Rashford instead of Greenwood? I think that would be a mistake. I think, you know, the only change I would probably make is Sancho for Greenwood for the defensive work. But I think the front 3 justifies a start. And the midfield 3 does justify a start. McTominay played well in that second half. I'm going to be a bit out there, right? I'm just going to say this. I wouldn't change a winning team. So that team has to start. I agree. I wouldn't change a winning team. But The only justification to change a winning team is if you see something in that team that's a problem that may have prevented you winning that game. Now, in the last 2 games, there's one player that I think stares out massively, even though he's got 2 assists, massive issue in relation to chances conceded because he's not picking up his runners and he's not making the tackles, and that's Fred. And I watched Scott McTominay again this morning because I was like, I couldn't believe how many people were telling me played well as a number 6, and I'll stand by it. First half, he's not getting back, and Brentford are getting at our back 4. Second half, over 80% of the good things McTominay did, and there was a lot of good things, but some of the things he did, driving forward with the ball, carrying the ball, getting the ball forward, and the positions he was doing it from. Watch those clips back if you can find them of McTominay and tell me whether you think he's acting like a 6 or an 8. Considering a 6 shields the back 4, takes the ball and passes it forward, and an 8 is box to box and carries the ball forward. He was playing like an 8 yesterday. So one thing I would consider, being as he's had a week off since Villa, is bringing Matic into the team as the 6 and playing McTominay as the 8 with Bruno as the other 8. I would like to, exactly, Rawnux just said it. I would like to see that, because what I have seen from McTominay, and look, I put my hands up. I'm not a big fan of McTominay's. I don't think he's good enough, but I'd love to be proven wrong. But what I have seen over the few weeks is the Burnley game, fantastic. Yesterday, second half, fantastic. But both, why were they fantastic? And the things that jumped out to me was the fact that he was driving the ball forward and getting us to the edge of the box and getting himself to the edge of the box, if you take into account the Burnley game. That's a number 8, it's not a number 6. If he does that as a number 6, we're fucked. I'm sorry to swear, but we are screwed. If he starts driving forward as a number 6, we are... Well, what if you... Right, example, right? Let's see if I can see it here. So, how do I work this out? So, forget about the personnel for a moment. Let's just pretend we've got a front 3, a midfield 2. Donny, I've picked you for once. Where is Scott McTominay? That's Harry Maguire. There he is. So, McTominay's here. Fred, get off. So, we've got a 4-3-3, right? Okay. McTominay, as the number 6, drives forward with the ball here. Yeah? He gives it to Greenwood. Greenwood loses it. Sorry, don't give myself to Greenwood. He gives the ball to Matic, who's playing right wing, which would be a bad mistake anyway. No, let's say he gives the ball to Sancho, right? Sancho loses the ball for the right back, who plays it in here, who drops it in here. This space running at the back 4. That's why your holding midfielders shouldn't be driving forward. That's why McTominay should be playing as a number 8. That's what I was trying to say yesterday. He did play really well yesterday, but he was playing well as an 8. And all that driving forward, it's only one bad pass and he's 20 yards out of position, and that's where, if you know, you know. This is why number 6 can't do what McTominay was doing yesterday. He can't drive forward all the time because your job is to protect, and that's why he should be playing as a number 8. So I would like to see that McTominay second half performance in a number 8 position with Bruno, with Matic sat behind him. And it's why we need to buy a holding midfielder. But yeah, I think he'd play well as a number 8. In relation to the game itself, I think we'll win 2-0. That's my score prediction. I think it's going to be very, very difficult. I can't comprehend us losing this game, because if we do lose this game, I'm telling you now, we're in all sorts of crap. All sorts of crap. And I don't really want to dwell on this too much, but if West Ham were to win this game, they'd go up to 40 points. They'd go 5 points ahead of us with a game in hand for us. But I'm more looking at Arsenal and Spurs, who both have one game. Well, Arsenal have got one game in hand on us. Spurs have got 2, and they're ahead of us. You know, I don't want to say we're in last chance saloon. I don't think we're going to get top 4 anyway, unless we buy a midfielder in the next few days, which I'm hoping we will, and we'll talk about in a minute. I don't think we're getting top 4 anyway. But if you do think we're getting top 4, I think you need to acknowledge that this is last chance saloon time. We have to go on a run of wins. And how we go on a run of wins is, look, let me just feed this to you, because we've had a really good run of fixtures recently. We've played Norwich's, Newcastle's, Burnley's. We've had a good run of fixtures. Well, let me tell you what our next few league fixtures are. We've got West Ham, then we've got Burnley away, and Southampton at home, and then Leeds away. You've got to take, if we can take 12 points from that, We've then got Watford at home, 15 points. You're suddenly thinking, you know what, we're in the race, because then March is a bloody nightmare. City, Spurs, Liverpool. Into April, you're playing Leicester, Everton away, you've got Arsenal as well. You know, we've got, over the next 5 games, we need to accumulate a lot of points. And it has to start with West Ham. Because there's no point losing to West Ham and then, well, we've got Burnley and Watford and everyone else. The catch-up, I think, will be too much. So we've got to win. We've got to win this game on Saturday. And I think we will do. And look, I'm not going to... I don't think there's any point in saying, oh, we've got to play well. I think that's unrealistic. It'd be a very nice bonus, but I think that's unrealistic. But what we do need to do is make sure that we win, because when we hit March, there's potential to drop points. And I think people get very excited looking at the next few games and going, oh, 12, 15 points. But realistically, it has to be 12 or 15 points. Malps says we're not getting top 4 anyway. Well, on that, Malps, I think it really does come down to transfer activity, and you know, United either do something in the transfer market or they don't. Mark, if we finish top 4 or win an FA Cup, would you give the job to Ralph? Says Sidan. No. Actually, it's funny. Let me just tell you this. If you go to our community tab, sometimes you don't need to do it now, but there's a community tab on our homepage, and we a couple of times a week we'll put up a poll on there. This is quite an interesting one. This went out after full time yesterday, after we'd won. Do you think Rangnick should be considered for full-time Manchester United job? 50,000 votes, 29% said yes, 71% said no. And I think a lot of United fans like Rangnick and feel that he's done a good job, but I don't think many Manchester United fans think he should be getting the job full-time. And I don't think that's because he's not good enough to get the job. I just think it's like it's a bit. I suppose it's a little bit political if I was to give my opinion on this, because I want to talk about these transfers. But would I give Rangnick the job in the summer? No. Why? Because he didn't get top 4. Good reason. He did get top 4 and he won an FA Cup. Would you give him the job? No. Why? Because he's been in the job 6 months. He's got his feet under the table and he's got his slippers on, and he's not made the changes he needed to make. What do you mean? Well, look, he's done a lot of let's keep people happy over the last few weeks, hasn't he? You know, Martial was back on the bench yesterday. You know, Maguire came on it in the last fucking 20 minutes and didn't need to. There's a lot of bending over backwards, I suppose, to make everyone happy. If you bring a new manager in the summer, they're not beholden to what's happened in the last 6 months. They come in with new ideas. I just think we need a reset, and I don't think Rangnick will reset the club, having spent 6 months not resetting it. And he has made changes. I think it's really unfair when people say Rangnick hasn't made changes. He has made changes, but he hasn't done what's needed to be done. And I don't think he ever would if we gave him the full-time job. Whereas if I would hope if you brought in a Poch or a Ten Hag, they'd come in and go, I'm in charge, you're not good enough, get out. Whereas I think Rangnick, by the time he was given the power to do that, he's built relationships with those players. You know what I mean? It's like if you... Familiarity, I suppose, is the word. If Rangnick came in the summer, brand new, I think he'd look at it and go, yeah, you're not good enough, off you go. If Rangnick gets the job in the summer, having spent 6 months getting to know everyone, it's familiarity, isn't it? And I think favouritism, etc., whatever you want to call it. So, for me, I think we need a new manager in the summer. Would you let Phil Jones... okay, we're not going to read that. In fact, you can go. Thank you very much. And I love the team, but Donny should be there for Fred and Matic for McTominay. I don't see Scott being dropped, though, and I think Maguire will come in. I disagree, Matthew. I think let's move it on to transfers, actually. So I predict Manchester United will beat West Ham. Let's bring you the latest transfer news. There isn't actually anything on Donny van der Beek at the moment, but each to their own. We've got a community. It's about opinion. I've completely checked out in relation to Donny van der Beek and Manchester United. There's just no point in investing any energy in it. The only energy I'm investing in this is let Donny van der Beek go. I think it's appalling by the football club that they won't let him go. It's ridiculous. Paul Pogba's been injured for 3 months. He's still not getting game time. McTominay's been injured, not got game time. Bruno's been suspended, not got game time. We've played 2 games in 4 days, hardly any game time, despite coming on for 20 minutes in the cup game and playing quite well. Look, whether he should be getting game time or he shouldn't, let him go. Because I'm bored of this situation, and it must be I mean, look, if you're Donny van der Beek last night, sat on the bench watching a game where Fred is putting in another 90-minute crap performance, and he was crap, and you're not getting a minute, and Ronaldo comes off moaning, going, why have I been... I'd have said, look at me, mate. At least you've been on the pitch for 70 minutes. I've got to watch that shithouse in the midfield and on my arse. I mean, it would have been hilarious if he'd done that. But look, he's got to go, and he's got to be allowed to go. And I think the worst thing about this is I can't think of a player United have treated this badly. There may be one, maybe someone in the chat. I can't think of a player that United bought, that Real Madrid wanted, that many other clubs wanted, who was 23 and one of the most exciting midfielders in European football. We brought him to Manchester United and turned him into a Dutch Tom Cleverley. Like, we've destroyed his career. And that's the only thing I'm engaged in now. Let him go and build his career. And I will watch it with interest, because if he goes somewhere else and he's crap, then, you know, blame it on the scouts. We never should have bought... There's no win for United here. There is no win for United here. For everybody who says he's a load of shit and that's why he doesn't play, blame it on the scouts. If he goes off and plays really well for somebody else, blame it on the managers. So United can't win in this situation because they either bought a crap player with crap scouts, or they never used a decent player. But let him go, because he's... I tell you what, I think... The one negative I would say about Donny van der Beek is, and I would criticise him for this, you're too nice, mate. You're too nice. You only get, what did Paul Ince say this morning? You only get a short career, and you've got to look out for yourself in the career and do the best that you can in that short career that you've got. When you retire, Donny, you're going to look back at massive years between the age of 23 and 25. They are huge years in the development of a footballer. You're basically so if you burst on the scene when you're 20, you're a young player. And you're a young player from 20 to about 23. And then 23 to 25 is the journey to being in your prime. You've ripped, your career doesn't have that. You're still a 23-year-old who might be a good player, and your career is on standstill. If you are thinking about staying at Man United for the next 4 months, you need to get your agent to do what Martial's done and just say, I want to go. Because the way the club's treated you, mate, nobody would disrespect you for saying you want to go. They have given you next to nothing. And whether you're good enough or not, you've got to look out for yourself. So that's what I would say about Donny van der Beek. He needs to force the move, because what credit is he doing his career by sitting there and being a good lad on the bench every game? He's not being used. When Pogba comes back, if Bruno and Pogba both play as 8s, even with a number 6, won't we lose a defensive capability, says Roanoke. It's why a number 6 is so important. Fred's one of the worst midfielders to play for us. Hard to remember much worse. How could Donny be worse than Fred? What are we missing, says Brian. And Ralph could win the Champions League, get 4th, etc. with for us, and I would still bring in a new manager. Colin, I can tell you for a free, we ain't winning the Champions League. I've already told you, if we win the Champions League, we're having the biggest party ever. And we'll book the place and you can all come. We ain't going to win the Champions League. Mark, please don't fool us or yourself with false hope regarding a new manager. It's jobs for the boys and yes men, that's all we will get, says Lieb. Look, let's go into the West Ham game with a bit of positivity. It's a massive game and we need that positivity because we need to win. If we lose that West Ham game, we are screwed. Absolutely screwed. Funnily enough, I think if we did lose the West Ham game, they'd probably go and buy a midfielder. Anyway, let's talk about transfers, because what caught my eye today was the Telegraph talking about Franck Kessie at AC Milan. Played very well against us last year in the Europa League. A player that I've always admired. I loved him at Atalanta and I thought that United should have gone for him then and we didn't. He is a really, really good player and he is available for free in the summer. Now, Spurs are apparently going to move for him now so that they don't get locked into a transfer battle in the summer. I don't know whether they'll get him because it's the same as Pogba. He might go, I don't really want to move now, I'm going to wait till the summer. But Spurs, what a result last night. Killer result for us, really. They're 2-1 down 5 minutes into extra time, stoppage time. They end up winning 3-2. They've also got 2 games in hand on us, and they're looking to bring Kessie in. I mean, that's a football club. There's a football club for you. This is what I've always said. I remember Roy Keane saying this after the 99 season as well. Maybe we didn't go and add to a team that had momentum. And I think this is what Spurs are doing. They've got momentum with Conte. They're on a good run. They're into the race for top 4. And then instead of just going, let's try, they're going, let's get a player in as well. It's a football club. What are Man United doing? We're not in the top 4. We don't deserve to be in the top 4. We're grinding out results. We need a midfielder, and we're talking about the summer. That's a business for you. What Spurs are doing, what United are doing. Football club, ambitious, business club, social media clicks. And that's what United are. We should be all over bringing a midfielder in the next 10 days. And we're not. We're going, Pogba's like a new signing. We haven't got a fucking holding midfielder. McTominay was one of the best players on the pitch yesterday because he was a holding midfielder, but he decided to be a number 8. We need a holding midfielder. And that's why we conceded so many chances in the first half, because there's nobody protecting the back 4. Mark, do you still believe last week of the transfer window will do something? If so, who would you say? Look, Apollo 30X. I've always said I think United will let 2 players go and 1 player will come in. Who that 1 player that's going to come in at the moment, I don't know, but things can move quite quickly. On outs, an interesting story today that we're looking to let Telles go to Barcelona. I want to talk about that in a minute, but also a story coming today that Newcastle want to buy Jesse Lingard in January, and Lingard might be open to the move. United would certainly be open to the move, because if we don't let him go in January for money, we'll never get any money for him. Now, do I think this deal will happen? No, I don't. I think Lingard will wait till the summer. But I thought about it, and I thought, you know what? The risk for Lingard is what? Newcastle get relegated and you end up in the Championship. I don't think that's going to happen. Newcastle have hardly got any points, but there's enough points. There's enough teams down there for Newcastle to start picking up points, which I think they will. And I certainly think they will do if they get a player like Jesse Lingard and a couple of others, which I'm sure they will. Jesse Lingard going to Newcastle, he will get good money for a start. He will also go to one of the most exciting projects in football if they stay up. I think it's a good move for Jesse. I really do. And I would fancy that move, because there's almost not a club legend vacancy there, but you could be the player that kick-started Newcastle. The one that when in 3 years' time, when they're battling for Champions Leagues, they go, remember that first season when Lingard came in and kept us up? There's an opportunity to go to a club and be loved again like he was at West Ham. Do West Ham really need Lingard? I think they do, but I think Newcastle's a very exciting project, and he'll get more money at Newcastle. So I'd go, because what's the alternative? You sit on your arse for 4 months, you don't play. Alanga's playing ahead of you, he's 19. You're never going to get any game time. Pogba's about to come back, and you're just going to sit there and wait for a payday in the summer. But you know what? You could be yesterday's news in no time. Is everyone going to be queuing up to give you big wages in the summer when you've not really kicked a ball for a year? Newcastle want you now. They want you part of a project where they need you now. They're going to pay you good money. I'd go. And if he did go, there's a bit of money there for United. Here is a thought. None of that particular crop of Ajax players who have transferred has done well. De Jong, De Ligt, Ziyech, Donny. I disagree, actually. I think Ziyech's a fantastic player. Look, I don't think Ziyech was ever bought in to be the next Eden Hazard, but I think Ziyech's been good. He scored the other night. I think Ziyech's a good player. He's playing at one of the best players in the world. And to start and perform, he'd have to be one of the best players in the world, which he's not. But I think Ziyech's been a reasonable signing for Chelsea. I think De Jong's done a reasonable job as well at Barcelona, to be fair. And De Ligt's actually done quite well at Juventus. So I don't think they've done anywhere near as bad as what Donny's done. I don't think you can say... I don't know what you're trying to say. You're trying to say they're all shit. So no, I disagree with you there. I think they've all done well. I am on Twitch today, just about 3:10, Iron. Fred, very good yesterday, but your bias can't see that, says Valley. Mate, if you think Fred played well yesterday, fine. Don't put a comment about me being biased. I'm not going to be offensive to you. You've lost the argument, because I thought Fred was shit. You thought he was good. That's absolutely fine. Maybe football's not for you. But look, I thought Fred was crap yesterday. Somebody's got to take responsibility for the midfield being dominated yesterday, and I thought Fred was crap. He made a good assist, but I thought he was crap. So... we've also been linked to Dembele. Dembele is apparently going to leave Barcelona this month. Now, to be fair, Romano's come out and said that Man United won't move for him in January. Barcelona are looking to move him on in January because they want a bit of money. Again, I don't know that Ousmane Dembele will move in January, because he's another player that can go for free in the summer. It's like Kessie, it's like Pogba, it's like Lingard. Again, I think Dembele is a very interesting player because I'm sure some of you would go for him. For me, I would avoid him like the plague. He has got a questionable attitude. He's got a terrible injury record. And I just think Manchester United as well have a ridiculously bad 10-year transfer history of overpaying for players that aren't good enough, that are risky, etc. If I was Man United, that's exactly the sort of signing I would not go anywhere near. Di Maria, Di Maria, Depay, Falcao, the list goes on. I just would not go anywhere near this. You don't close a gap on Man City, Chelsea and Liverpool by buying players like that. They're inconsistent, they're volatile, it's not the right deal to do. He's a fantastic footballer, but we need give me a player that's 75% the talent of Ousmane Dembele, but plays 75% of the season, any day of the week. Talent can only take you so far. We've seen this. I wouldn't go anywhere near Dembele. But look, some of you would. We've also, I've spoken about Kessie. Telles. I just wanted to talk about Telles. I don't know what this is coming from. The Barcelona want Telles. I think Telles is a really interesting one. Initially I was like, what? We can't let Telles go. And then I was like, well, hold on a minute. I personally think if Luke Shaw's fit, I would start him. I think Luke Shaw's better than Telles. And I like having Telles as a backup. But, maybe United don't. Maybe United are thinking something else. I do think the Telles story is a load of crap. But I think in the summer it might develop into something. The problem is, if you let Telles go, who's our left back? Luke Shaw and who? Don't tell me Brandon Williams. I know he's done a good job at Norwich, but I think he's awful at left back. He's got no left foot. If you're going to use Brandon Williams, he's got to be a right back. So I don't want Telles to go because I quite like... It's almost like... And this is why I hope it's just total bullshit paper stories, because we live in a world where, it's flavour of the month. It's cancel culture. We know this from society. But it's infiltrated football. And if you compare our fullbacks, some people just want Telles and Dalot, and Wan-Bissaka and Shaw pack your bags, your shit. Some people want Shaw and Dalot. Some people want Wan-Bissaka, But there aren't many people like myself who go, I'm very happy with the situation. I like Wan-Bissaka, I like Dalot, I like Shaw, I like Telles. Let the battle commence. I like the fact that if Shaw gets injured, Telles is there. I like the fact if Wan-Bissaka's ill, Dalot is there. If Dalot gets injured, Wan-Bissaka is there. I like the fact that we've got two fullbacks in both positions who conceivably can be fighting each other. And hopefully that's going to happen on the left-hand side as well with Rashford and Elanga. What I don't like is, and I think a lot of football fans have become like this, player FC. Oh, fuck Pogba, it's got to be Bruno. Well, fuck Bruno, it's got to be Pogba. And it's like, ideally, you've got both of them playing really well in the same team or competing for the same position. We benefit. I want to get to the point where we've got 20 first-team players who are all liked, all good enough, and we utilise that squad, like Pep does, like Tuchel does. And we have fallen into this trap in recent years where it's like, I want that left back to play because I don't like that one. Or I want that right back to play because I don't like the other one. And actually, we're Manchester United. And this is why I don't have an agenda against any player. I just judge them on whether I think they're good enough for United. So when I talk about Maguire's form, I just don't think he's good enough at the moment. When I talk about Fred, I just don't think he's good enough. And when I see a hint of a good performance, like last night with McTominay, I think, right, let's try him at 8 and get a proper 6 in. And let's see if he is good enough. It's all about Manchester United and whether we can be good enough. And I think too many fans start going, they have personal duels on the pitch. Oh, I don't want that right back, I want the other one. And ultimately, what if the right back you like gets injured? You're going to need the other one. So I wouldn't let Telles go. You need to have two good players for every position at a club like Manchester United. I was very pleased with Fernandes yesterday. I think it was a bit like McTominay, really. I don't think he was very good first half, but second half, Bruno did what he did. 2 assists is good. I've always called Bruno a stat padder. I said this before he even kicked a ball for United. I said he's a stat padder. even if he doesn't have a good game, he tends to get a goal or an assist. And he's kept that going at Manchester United. I guarantee if you look at his stats for key passes and assists and goals, even though this season's been very... You'd almost say Bruno's not had a good season. I bet when you look at his stats, you'd go, fucking hell, he's right up there with some of the best number 10s in Europe. And, it's good. It's good, actually. I think, he got 2 goals against Villa, 2 assists last night. I mean, that's 4 goal actions in 2 games, which is exactly what you want from Bruno. And I like Bruno in a deeper role. I hated what Ollie was doing with Bruno this season at the start. He was almost playing him as a support striker. And I'm like, I like Bruno to be more part of the midfield than... I want Bruno to be closer to our midfielders than he is to the attacker. And this season, we seem to... It's like Ollie... It was almost like Ollie went, Bruno gets a lot of goals and assists, let's get him up front. And it's like, well, he gets lots of goals and assists from a deeper position, and our midfield's crap. Brian says, Tellez won't leave, it's nonsense. Championship player... White back... No. Right, you've gone into code now, Brian. I don't know what WWDD and all that means. So it's like a bra size. We're not in bloody Ann Summers. Harry Maguire and the ordeal of the fridge as captain. Yeah, I started something there. Do you think United will reach the quarterfinals in the Champions League? Hatim, all I'm thinking about is the game against West Ham at the weekend. I will say what I keep saying. I don't. And I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong. I really do. But look, that was about the result last night. The second half was good. The first half was terrible. If that was Liverpool or, to be honest, I don't know why I'm saying Liverpool. If that was Arsenal, I think we'd have lost that game because we'd have been out of sight. They'd have been out of sight by half time. We're not playing well consistently, but we've had a good result last night. We need to beat West Ham on Saturday. But if you want my honest answer... My prediction is that we'll win 2-0 Man United for life. If you want my honest answer, I don't think we're going to get top 4. I don't think we'll do anything in the Champions League, and I don't think we'll win the FA Cup. And the reason I say that is from a position of strength, unfortunately, in the fact that we are coming towards the end of January, which means United have been playing for 6 months this season, and in those 6 months, I've seen game after game after game where our midfield gets dominated, and you cannot. I don't think we'll beat Atletico Madrid. I don't know how good Atletico Madrid are this season, but I don't think we'll beat them because if they've got a midfield that's anywhere near competent, I know they've got good attacking players, we're in trouble. We will be in trouble against Atletico Madrid. And if we do get through them in the quarterfinals of the Champions League, you'd expect to play a team that's got a decent midfield as well. I can't see it. I can't see it. I think our midfield is trash. Maybe Pogba makes a difference, but the midfield's not good enough, and I think it's going to struggle. I like Rangnick's flexibility with other formations, says Abdul. Anyway, Shahir says, we need to get our wingers and midfield playing properly. It's always like playing with 2 men down. Yeah. Look, but massive game against West Ham. Weirdly, it's a 3 o'clock kickoff on Saturday, which, I would have thought that would be a game on the TV, maybe the lunchtime kickoff, but it's not. It's 3 o'clock on Saturday. Anyway, look, I will be on Twitch in about 25 minutes. I've got some new sliders to try out. If you know, you know. Goldbridge TV, I'll be tweeting that out. We're on at 7 o'clock tonight on United Stand because I'm doing a watch-along on That's Football for Arsenal-Liverpool, second leg of the Carabao Cup, to see who gets in the final. But thanks, everybody, for watching. Make sure you check out Ultimate Fan, free to play, but you must be over 18. £8,500 cash prize pool to play. See how you're doing that. And I'll speak to you all in a little bit. Thanks for watching. Take care.